Part 3. My mother-in-law tried to wear a wedding dress to my wedding, so I had security escort her out. Now my husband's family is demanding I pay for the emotional damage I caused her, but they don't know what happened that day. As for me, I feel relieved that everyone finally sees Sarah for who she really is. Yes, it was dramatic and messy, but sometimes you need to stand your ground. Our wedding day may not have been perfect, but it was ours, and we didn't let anyone, not even an attention-seeking mother-in-law in a wedding dress, ruin it. Update: it's been 2 weeks since my last post, and things have definitely escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. After my evidence went public, Sarah had what can only be described as a complete psychological meltdown. At 3 a.m. last Tuesday, our security cameras caught her pulling up to our house in her car, still wearing the same wedding dress from our wedding day, now stained and wrinkled from constant wear. She spent nearly an hour pacing our front lawn, alternating between crying hysterically and screaming for James to rescue her from my evil clutches. The neighbors called the police, and when they arrived, Sarah launched into an incoherent rant about how she was the true bride and that I had stolen her son through witchcraft. The responding officers were so concerned about her mental state that they actually had her transported for a psychological evaluation. She was released the next morning, but the incident report makes for some interesting reading. Apparently, she told the hospital staff that she was a young bride waiting for her groom, and that I was an imposter who used dark magic to age her and steal her youth. The next day, we received a letter from her lawyer claiming emotional distress and character defamation. The lawyer, however, quickly dropped her case after we showed him all our evidence. Sarah didn't take this well. She's now telling everyone who will listen that we've bought off her lawyer. What's really shocking is the flood of stories that have come out about Sarah's past behavior. It turns out her wedding-crashing antics weren't limited to our celebration. James's cousin Emma reached out with photos from her wedding 3 years ago, where Sarah showed up in a white cocktail dress and attempted to give a surprise speech about how empty weddings feel without a mother's blessing. Another cousin, Michael, shared security footage from his wedding reception where Sarah tried to announce her own, completely fabricated, engagement during the couple's first dance. But the most disturbing story came from James's Aunt Linda. Apparently, 20 years ago, when James's older sister got married, she's sadly no longer with us, Sarah showed up to the wedding in her own original wedding dress, claiming she had a vision from God that told her to reclaim her youth that day. The wedding photos are wild. Sarah posed for every picture, sometimes physically pushing the actual bride aside to stand next to the groom. Linda says this behavior was an early warning sign that everyone ignored because they didn't want to upset the family dynamics. The real bombshell, though, was dropped by Tom, my father-in-law, who's finally found the courage to speak up after decades of enabling Sarah's behavior. He filed for divorce last week, citing irreparable psychological manipulation and persistent delusional behavior as the main reasons. In his divorce filing, which has unfortunately become public record, thanks to Sarah's drama, he detailed years of similar incidents where Sarah would fixate on random young men, convinced they were James at different ages, and try to mother them. She apparently has a closet full of wedding dresses and children's clothes meant for when James returns to his true age. This has sent Sarah into an even deeper spiral. She's now claiming that I orchestrated everything, including her divorce, as part of some elaborate plot to destroy her family. James is handling this better than I expected. He's started therapy to deal with years of his mother's manipulation, and he's been incredibly supportive of both me and his father. He says he feels free for the first time in his life, like he can finally see his mother's behavior for what it really is. As for Sarah's demands for compensation, she's now increased the amount to $50,000, claiming she needs it for intensive therapy and reputation rehabilitation. We've responded through our lawyer with a cease and desist letter, warning her that any further harassment will result in legal action. The silver lining in all of this is that James and I have grown even closer through this ordeal. We've learned that we make an incredible team when faced with adversity, and we're stronger together than apart. Sometimes it takes a dramatic event like this to show you who really has your back. For those asking about the wedding dress, Sarah still refuses to return it to the boutique, and apparently sleeps in it sometimes, according to Tom. We've decided to let that go and focus on building our new life together, free from her drama and manipulation. For those wondering about our pregnancy announcement and Sarah's reaction, yes, it's gotten even more complicated. When news of our pregnancy leaked, thanks to an overexcited aunt on Facebook, Sarah started telling everyone that she's pregnant too, claiming she's carrying the real James and that this will prove she's the true mother. She's even started showing up at my OB/GYN's office, trying to schedule prenatal appointments. The doctor's office had to file a restraining order after she attempted to steal my ultrasound pictures, claiming they were actually hers and that I had stolen her baby's photos. The saddest part of all this is watching James process the reality of his mother's mental state. He started intensive therapy to deal with years of manipulation and gaslighting. During one particularly emotional session, he revealed that Sarah used to tell him he was the reincarnation of her dead husband, who is very much alive and filing for divorce, and that they would be together in the next life. It's heartbreaking to see him unpack all this trauma, but I'm proud of how he's handling it. We've since learned that Sarah's behavior goes beyond just wedding drama. She's apparently been maintaining a blog for years where she writes fictional stories about her eternal romance with her son. The content is disturbing enough that several family members have reached out to Adult Protective Services, concerned that she might be a danger to herself or others. To everyone who supported us and shared their own similar stories, thank you. It helps to know we're not alone in dealing with difficult in-laws, and that standing up for yourself, while hard, is always the right choice.